I'm Blaze, and I'm an addict.
Hi, Blaze.
And I think my topic is, so you think you're different? I do. I am. Trust me. I got to give you a little rundown about me so you can understand how different I am. I was born into a very, very normal family. Normal mother, normal father, normal sister, normal brother, normal cat and dog. And then there's me. And I was first born. And I was born big. See, I thought I'd mention because I didn't think anybody would notice. When I was 5 years old, I went to a birthday party of a girlfriend of mine who was 7. She was smaller than me and older than me. And she got this 3-wheeler bicycle, and everybody took turns riding that bicycle except me. I was not allowed to ride on it because I was too big. And I ran home and went to my bedroom. See, in my bedroom, I could be anything I wanted to be. Okay? And the doctor told my mother that they should send me to tap and ballet class for balance of personality because I was going to be big all my life. And they did. And I wanted more than anything on God's world to be a ballerina. I really did. In Atlantic City, we have a steel pier and it goes out into the ocean. There's 5 theaters on it, and one of them is called Children of Tomorrow. Tony Grant's kids dance in that theater. And Fat Kid steals the show. I found out that if I made different move, it would break up everybody, and I had them in a palm of my hands. That was my first fix. I needed something outside of myself to make myself feel good. I had control of the audience. And every week people would come back to see what I was going to do. And the mothers would be back there pushing their kids, and they're crying. They don't want to go out there. I can't wait to get out there. Oh, God, I loved it. And then one day, I was in school, in dancing school, and I had to put my foot up to the back of my head. And I couldn't do it without the teachers' help, and they laughed. And I went home and never went back. And stayed in my room. And you know, I would do things better than skinny girls. I belonged to my church and was very active. And I would go on bike hikes, and I wouldn't get off that bike until I was the last one to get off the bike and my legs fall off. I could outswim. I had swimming awards. So when I was in junior high, some kids came up and said, Blaze, you want to go roller skating? I didn't know if I could roller skate, but some cute guys were going, so I went. See, nothing's changed there either. There's cute guys, I'll go anywhere. And I got to the roller skating rink, I found out I could roller skate. And I had my audience back. And I got in a roller derby. Let me tell you something, sweetheart. You learn in life that you got to find your place in life. A ballerina, I couldn't be. Roller derby person, I could be. Okay? All right, now I got daughters that work in the casinos. They are not cocktail waitresses, honey. They're security guards because they're built like me. Everybody finds their place. And meantime, my father was sergeant of the police force. My people were born and raised in Scotland, and Eastern Star Masons and Shriners and all this up-to-the-up business. And I was different. I was loud. I was in a roller derby. And I hung out with guys on motorcycles. See, you got to understand that my mother was a lady. They are snobs. They are, that bunch. But that's the way they are. And you know, I always wanted to be like that. I'm not the snob, but I wanted to be dignified. I wanted to be a lady. But it never came out right. You know, and my mother made me so aware of me. Don't sit down, you'll break it. So I go to people's houses, I look for furniture that are made of cement. Don't touch it, you'll break it, you know. And very, very aware of what my size is. And this is in the early 50s, also very important to be a virgin. I was very active in my church. And we had a 9:30 siren that went off at 9:30 at night. If you weren't in the house by 9:30, you're considered a juvenile. And I was in competition. I was in skating competition up north in Philly. So I would get home late. And my mother would call me names, and I would go in my room and break things up. And she would get upset and fall out, and the doctor would come and give her something. My father died. Brought a lot of horror to the family. And a year later, my mother, my doctor, and my priest took me to juvenile court. I went and stood before a judge, weighing about what I weigh now. I was 16 years old. I wasn't old enough to wear makeup. I carried a little tube of Clearless in my roller skating case and put it on at the roller skating rink. Think I was drone. I didn't smoke, didn't drink. I knew nothing of violence. That what I'm talking about, I knew nothing of violence. I didn't know how to beat up people, but I knew how to score in the roller skating rink, okay? Two different things altogether. One's a sport and one's not. And I knew nothing of homosexuality. And this judge sentenced me to Clinton State Prison for women. And some guy stood up in the corner and says, "Your Honor, don't you mean state home for girls? This child's only 16 years old." His Honor said, quote unquote, "Look at the size of her, I mean Clinton." And I went away for the worst kind of prejudice there is, my size. Now, if you think I hated myself before I went away, sweetheart, you got to know how it all ended up. Okay? I went in the penitentiary 16 years old. I come out on the other end 24 years old with 4 notches in my belt, 4 murders. I went in as a virgin and I came out, you would not believe. And I was different, and I loved being different. Hate became a weapon and a shield and protection. I learned how to use drugs in jail. I learned how to drink in a penitentiary. It started out with the hooch. Here, Blaze, try some of this. And I swallowed it. When I swallowed the hooch, you put me up there, I could look down on you and say, "Damn you, world, I am okay." And when I was 16 and a half years old, getting a reputation for myself, this is 1952, they stopped this year because one of the girls died. The punishment was they take you down, put you up against a stone wall, and put the fire hoses on you close range. And I went down and I had my handcuffs in back, and one of the girls said, "Blaze, I'll let him hit you in the stomach, you'll never have a baby." I thought about that. I hadn't even used this thing yet, you know. And they put the hoses on me, and I couldn't get the pain in me together in one place. And I fell out. When I came to, I was in a hole, laying on the ground, bent backwards. I went to the bathroom on myself, and I had thrown up on myself. I had no skin on my back. And I'd been there a couple of days because over at the door there's a little window they put your food in. There was some food on the floor. People, I laid on the floor that night and promised myself and my God never to show any human emotions again as long as I was to live. And I did a real good job of it. See, because they wrote the judge and wanted to know what I was doing there in the condition I was. I was 16, I was a virgin. What the fuck is she doing here? But when you got political pull, honey, they can put you anywhere. In those days, because there was no laws and rules and no social workers and all these counselors. "Oh, she's had a bad childhood," and all that. Fuck her, put her in jail. Okay. So when I come out, I made them some sorry suckers, let me tell you. But anyway, that's beside here. I was different. I was very different. And I made you know that. And when I came home, I'm in a bar. Where else am I? And I'm finger popping, but I'm not drinking because I'm high and I can't have this drink mess up my high. And I met my husband, and he thought I was a good girl. Then he took me home and he found out I was a virgin. Poor fool, he married me. Then we had a problem though. See, this is not good. He was scared of me, okay? And we have 4 lovely children. And again, I'm different. Girls aren't supposed to be like this. I would be out in a bar and he'd be shooting pool or something, and somebody would mess with him and I'd hit him in the back of the head with a pool stick, or somebody would look at me or talk to me and I hit him. And this is not good. He said, "You're embarrassing me." And it got real bad. Then he got drinking and everything. Naturally, I found an alcoholic. What else would I be with? And he used to beat my kids while I was at work. You know, I know what an abused woman feels like because I have to kiss his ass. So he wouldn't beat up my kids while I was at work. I was laying in bed one night reading, and he jumped. I said, "What's wrong with you, King?" He said, "I'm afraid you'll kill me in my sleep." I said, "Never happened, honey. I want you wide awake." And he was. And I'm different. And I would be in the beauty shop. The only good thing I got out of Clinton was my hairdressing license. And I'm in the beauty shop, and my boss had just gotten married and was going to have a baby and had a home in Margate. And he's combing out a head, and he's singing. He's got glitter in his eyes. And I said to myself, what does that feel like? What does it feel like to be glad you're alive and to love somebody? See, I didn't want to know what it felt like to be the president of the United States or a movie star. I just wanted to know what it felt like to love somebody. And I go home on a jitney, and I look around and say, what do they go home to? They go home the same thing I go home to. 4 babies haven't eaten yet, drunken husband, we got to fight. Does everybody go home to this? And see, I wanted to go out in the world and get what other people had, because when I came home one night, my oldest was laying on across the couch with belt marks from head to toe. And I knew my kids were paying my dues, and I had to get out of there. But see, I had another problem. It wasn't a problem to me, but it's a problem to the rest of the world. This is in 1968. My husband is black, and my kids are black. And nobody would help me on either side of the fence. And then finally a cop said to me, "Blaze, this is what you do." And I live right around the corner from City Hall. You go, and then when King gets out and goes somewhere, you tell the kids, tell Daddy, dress the girls, go around the City Hall, say, "I got no mommy, no daddy," and they'll put their kids in a foster home. And they did. Thank God. And I went out in the world to get what other people have. But if you're like me, and you got a gorilla on your back, and nothing inside, you can't find what other people have. All my life, I only wanted to be one thing, and that's a lady, and I could never get there. My violence became worse, and I had a problem with policemen. And there was a cop that I used to go with. Well, I didn't go with him, but we were in high school together, and he wanted to go with me, and I couldn't do this. Now, this is the end of the 60s, the beginning of the 70s, when the big go-go girls was in. Remember? My last 2 raw people, pay attention to what I'm saying here. And I was dancing at La Bistro. And in the meantime, I found my drug of choice, which was speed. I was on speed for 20 years. I never lost a pound. I mean, where's the justice? No, this ain't funny. My friends look like pencils. And they say, "Blaze, what's up?" And I had pink crystal meth. It was the best. Anyway, I had $400 of pure meth upstairs. I wasn't going to let them have my diamonds. I come down off the stage. Cheyenne said, "Blaze, the cops are here." And I ran outside, and I beat up Michael. I threw his gun across the street, threw his dog against a car, and he's up there talking about back up. I never back up. And I want to say, going forward a little bit, when I had about a year in the rooms, Michael came in. And it's amazing how these rooms can erase hate and bad things. And we hugged at each other. And my Michael is still clean. And I was sponsored. Boy, I mess with him. I got him even. Back, and then I would go to bars. I could vacate a bar with my presence alone. See, because there was one sentence, I don't know why people say this to me. It affects me terrible. When you say, "Or I'll call the cops." Don't say this to me. And I was always getting in trouble. I could vacate a bar with my presence alone. And if I saw a cute guy, I would go up to him and say, "We're going out, aren't we?" He would say, "Oh, yeah." You know? I was different. I was different. My life was a mess. So I had to get the kids back. That was what would straighten this out. Never mind the drugs, and by now alcohol too, because I would drink waiting for the cop man to show. And I got the kids back, and this time they took the kids away from me. Said I would never see them again as long as I was alive. You got to understand that a year before this happened, I fell out in the beauty shop, and they put me in the hospital. And they x-rayed my body from head to toe because I was paralyzed. Didn't know what was wrong with me. And they found out that some of my ribs had been broken as many as 14 to 15 times. I have massive scar tissue on my back. My hips are all messed up. Everything's messed up from the way them guards used to beat on me. See, they beat you over hoses you can't see through, hon. And them girls would say, Blaze, don't let them guards beat on you because you're going to pay for that when you get older. I said, darling, I won't see 30. Well, I'm a week or two older than 30. And I lie. And I also weigh 110. Fuck with that. And I'm paying. Big. But I have to tell you that, so you have to know my tolerance of pain. To know where alcohol and drugs took me. To abandoned house in the inlet. Crawling around on my hands and knees like a cockroach. Hallucinating blood out of the ceiling. I had tracks up my arm, and I had a fifth of vodka in my hands. And I said, God help me. Not that I believe there was anything connected to that word, because that dude left me a lot of years ago. But a thought came in my head. When I was in Clinton, we had these meetings. And the AA meetings. And the girls used to go to these meetings. See, now, where I come from, it's cool to be a junkie, and it's a drag to be an alcoholic. So we beat those girls up after their meetings, see. But the thought of AA came in my head. So I crawled up the boardwalk to the phone, and I called my girlfriend, and I said, Inky, swear on your mother's eyes, I'm going to tell you something. She didn't know what was coming out of my mouth, because I couldn't let my corner friends know that I'm going to this place. Oh, God, how uncool. And I said, Inky, I want to go to AA. Just you come home with me, and I'll take you there. And I went over there, and I went home with her. And her in front of me, her husband behind me, we went to the Tennessee in the boardwalk, this arcade building. And there was an old raggedy man standing outside, and the building was dark. I said, oh, they're closed for the night. I got it. And I went up to the guy, and I said, is this where AA is? And he said, yeah, upstairs on the second floor, room 41. And I went upstairs to a room, and this girl come out, and she come up to me. I said, get off. She goes, where I come from, you don't let nobody up on you unless you're going to fight him or fuck him. See, this is really, I'm not kidding. Get off me. And then she said, would you like a cup of coffee? So be all right. What's her angle, okay? So I go sit in the back of the room with the wallpaper, because I'm a speed freak, remember? And I'm reading the signs, and it says, but for the grace of God. I said, oh, never. He's not going to let me have this. And I looked at the people, and they looked like my boss did, with the glitter in the eyes and the air about them. And they were laughing. I didn't laugh in a long time, people. I had nothing that was funny where I come from. And then this lady come over, she says, can you stay away from a drink one day at a time? I said, of course I can. I was full of drugs. They didn't ask. I didn't volunteer. So here I am, 2 months of this. I'm running the joint. I've married 16 people already. Everybody spoke to me twice. I was married to them. And then they said, to get involved. So I'm looking around the room, who to get involved with here. It's amazing you hear what you want to hear. Huh? And then they said, but you can't get involved with here. I said, she'll get over it. They will get over this, yeah. And then I was around 2 months, and I had to go out on a 12-step call to a bar. When I got there, she was drinking, so I joined her. Now, let me tell you something, people. You have got to understand that the penitentiary took every ounce of fear away from me that ever. I feared nothing or no one. And that night when I took that drink, I had just a tinge of fear. I said, oh, my God, those people are right. And the next day, I crawled through them doors. And I said, help me, I'll do it your way. And that was on September the 18th of 1973. And I have not had drink or drugs since, because I've had no need to. So I made a deal with God when I went in there that night. You give me this thing, and I'll do it your way. Better yet, I ain't put my hands on nobody in 25 years. That's right. I don't have to. It's not my job anymore. And I came in here different. Because they say, now listen, you got to go away and don't come back. Because I was talking about drugs. Oh, God. And why did they do that? Then I have to be, I'm Blaze and I'm an alcoholic and a drug addict. You don't tell a drug addict you don't do something. So God, in his intimate fashion, he puts AA over there and he sends me over here and sends me a recovering addict. Yes. A very sick recovering addict. So now we're two different people. Okay? And we go to Philadelphia. So he said, hey, Blaze, did you ever hear of Narcotics Anonymous? I said, what's that? He says, come on, we'll go. We worked hard all week. We hopped in a van and went up to Philly, 10th and the Boulevard, in a church. Went in a room full of kids, and we talked about our drugs. And for the first time in my life, I felt at home. And there was a thump on my head when I walked in there. And I know that the night I walked in the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous, I finally shut the doors on the penitentiary for me. You know, we can't promise that we're going to open the doors to heaven, but I promise you we'll shut the doors to hell. They did it for me. And we came back in Atlantic City. I started NA in my living room, and Dutch started in the garage in Ocean City. They hated us. They wouldn't want any parts of us. It's okay to be an alcoholic. You can't be a drug addict. And we had to go to, we have to register at City Hall. If there are two or more under a roof, it's considered conspiracy. You know, I go to world conventions on Saturday night. I sit there and cry. People say, Blaze, what's wrong? I said, they ought to see this, them fuckers. Look at all my babies here. Eh? As I go to City Hall, I go to Hank Diner, and I say, Hank, I got to come up here and register with you for what? And I explain Narcotics Anonymous. He said, oh my God, yes. Yes. Because leave this town alone, Blaze. And gambling had just come through, please. Leave it alone. And my landlord gave me chairs so there'd be enough of everything. But you know, we're sick people. You got to have rules and regulations for drug addicts. So I said, I'll go send away for that beginner's kit, you know, like that other program has. And I'm waiting for UPS to come. Mailman came with my letter. It said moved, no forwarding address. Let me tell you, people, for 24 hours, Dutch and I had no NA. You have no idea what that felt like. No, an AA did not want us, and I refused to go there. We had nothing. And we ran to Philadelphia, and Jimmy said, no, Blaze, they just moved to Van Nuys. So we hurry up and sent to Van Nuys for the beginner's kit. Mailman came with a brown envelope, with a gray book. It was like this. It was about 14 pages, paperback. And it said, this is NA. An inventory list and a serenity prayer. That was our entire program. And we loved those pieces of paper like they were gold. But like I said, you got to have more than them little pieces of paper. Because we were very bad. We 13-stepped anything that moved. We used to show dirty movies at my house after the meetings. At 12-step somebody on the weekend in Philadelphia, take them to the all-night dirty movie place. That's how we thought you stayed clean. What the fuck? But there's a badness in that too, because see, then we start learning more, okay? And then we start writing the IPs and writing the books. And then what can you tell somebody when they know it all? This is not good, people, all right? I became Miss NA. What can you tell somebody who knows it all? Look here, yo. And I got into a relationship. First of all, I couldn't be a hairdresser no more because I was allergic to the hairspray and everything, so I became a counselor. Oh. Now I'm a CAC, I'm a Johns Hopkins graduate. And let me tell you all one thing. And I mean, you better listen here, because you can be anything you want to be. I'm a gutter junkie. You got this? I got put in the penitentiary my sophomore year. Since I'm clean, I got a GED, AA, BA. I have letters after my name. I'm a certified addiction counselor, and I'm a Johns Hopkins graduate. I got a resume that would choke a horse. And I'm a gutter junkie, baby. So tell me what you can't do, because when you come in here and you get an NA sponsor and you work the 12 steps of Narcotics Anonymous, old man Can is dead. Do you hear me? There's nothing you can't do or be, because I can look at your little eyes and I see your dreams back there. Go get them, baby. Go get them. I did it. You can use my name as a reference today. And they won't even lock you up. I live in a town I was not allowed to be seen in. Get her and her friends out of here. Yeah, I do. You can be anything you want to be. And let me tell you something, my babies. When you come in here, you come in with all these enemies in here. And when you work the steps one by one, you get rid of these enemies. And when the enemy knocks on the door, you go to open. There's no one there. No one can ever hurt you again. Ever. Because it's an inside job. And that world's really rough out there. And they're going to knock you down. But you know what? You're going to fall on your back. Because if you can look up, you can get up. And see, what I didn't know is that big girl that stood before the judge, there was a little girl inside of her that really had no idea where she was going. And it's taken me a lot of years to go in there. I studied under Bradshaw, so I know what I do. But the doctor that helps herself ain't too cool. Okay? Now, I help my babies. I take them regressing way back, okay? But I have somebody else do it with me. And when I work with my babies and they're in there with their little child, I had the little child, but she's big. But she still knows how to crouch in a corner. And she still knows how to cry. And I didn't know even that. See, I fell in love with a guy, 33rd guy. He said, Blaze, I'm going to give you the ultimate gift of love, something we don't know nothing about, like from the streets. And we lived together for a whole month, had no sex. Trust me, girls, that's a lifetime for me. And we'd go down to the beach. He was a jazz musician, played drums. And we used to go down to the beach and listen to the music and talk through the music to each other and watch the sun come up. I knew how he liked his eggs in the morning. I knew what his dreams were. You know, my sponsor said, there's more to love than sex. I said, what does she know? She's old. We go to bed together, we're in love. And if you're good, we're really in love. No, ladies. And then when we went to bed together, he knocked my socks off. See, because we had more than the bed. We had more than the bed. And I walked down the street. I thought I was skinny. I thought I was pretty. And let me tell you, I worked at Detox, so he would call me and see if somebody was going to come bring me home, or if I was coming home with a bus, so he could meet me at the corner and protect my body. I've never been raped or held hostage or raped or nothing, none of the good stuff, okay? But he had to come protect. Let me tell you something. You know what he gave me? He gave me the little girl. I was never a little girl when I was a little girl. I hate all my life. She's a big girl. She can take care of herself. I hang out with the bikers. Don't worry, we got Blaze with us. Understand what I'm saying here? Here comes the cops. All right, we got Blaze with us. Everything. She's a big girl. She can take care of herself. I always was. I was a man all my life. I fall in love with the guy that makes me feel like a little girl. And he did. He made me feel like a little girl. Because, see, I'm different. I'm from a different time. I will put on an apron, come in your kitchen. I go spoil you rotten and rub your feet at night. Okay? Somebody's got to make decisions. Let it be you. Let me lean for a while. You know, these women with this woman's lid, that's fine. But do you all know what you're creating here? I don't want to work construction with my man. I'm a fucking woman. I want to be a hairdresser. Okay? And we'd go to Philadelphia. He was from Kensington. You stay right here now. You just let me watch you. Oh, God, you know. Nobody ever worried about me before my whole life. You know, looking out for me. That is so fucking neat. And in my Orlando, in Nova Scotia, my Lori, that's my baby. We drove up one time, and I told the guys it was a 12-hour ride. They listened to me. 26 hours. They're going to beat me up and throw me in the woods, see? I said, you get there in Orlando and you got no Blaze, you going to be dead. And Orlando come up there like he's going to beat them up if they harm one hair on my head. Do you know how good that feels? Somebody taking care of me, worrying about me? Damn, you know? That's one of the gifts that I got in these rooms. I'm a girl. I became a girl. Damn, that is feeling so good. You all want to be something else, you're crazy. I came home from work one day, and he had picked up. Took my Jack 9 weeks to die. He came here once, he picked up once, and he died once. 35 people died that you sit in the chair you're sitting in, sweetheart. Trust me when I say that. I've watched them die. Me and Dutch are the only one in South Jersey with the kind of time we have. Where don't them jump? Be sober so bad, but he couldn't get 24 hours back to back. And the men went around to his room on Kentucky Avenue, and they found him dead. And on the dresser there was a note, and the note said, "Only God and I know how hard I tried." Do you hear what I'm saying? He can't be here to enjoy this little thing we're doing today. You are chosen. If you're in this room and you go home tonight and you thank your God for this day you have, because yeah, we are different. We're chosen. We are chosen people, and I believe that. And why in the name of God he chose me, I don't know, but I'm grateful as hell. And I can't do enough. And every time I get a speaking engagement, because my phone's right by my couch, I get right on my knees and I thank God, because it's a privilege. It's a privilege to be able to do his work. Because my name and all these black marks, and I can get rid of them. At least we can discuss it. You know, when I go to the Golden Gate, we can talk about it. See what I did? You know? And I got 4 lovely, lovely children. And I got a son, my baby boy. And he's an addict that doesn't listen very well. And he's in a penitentiary. And he went back into a bad penitentiary this time. And I'm white, and his fiancée is white, and they really don't like that. And they'd have beat him up and fractured his back and everything else. Oh, dear God. But we have to pray for him. We have to pray for him. And he's one of the good guys. He really is, you know. And I got to get with some people, try to get him out of there. But it just helped me pray for him. He's a Muslim, and his name is Wadu. Operator called one night. He said, "I got a collect call from penal institution from Wadu." I said, "Who?" Daddy says, "Ma." I said, "Oh, it's my son. I gave him a perfectly good name here." And then for Ramadan dinner, I go up there for Ramadan dinner, which is a very special time. And I'm forgetting and calling him Danny a couple times, and the guys are saying, "Danny, Danny." So I got to remember not to call him Danny. And when you say your moment of silence for the still suffering addict, pray for my son. Please, he needs your prayers. You know, and this is a program of love. This is a program of one addict helping another. Do you know how important that is? Let me tell you about my sponsor. My sponsor is Doreen, okay? I got the best sponsor in the world, and I come from the best sponsorship family in the world. And believe me when I tell you, I mean that. And we have problems in NA, and I'm watching these problems, and they're bothering me terrible because, you know, they can be the weakest link that'll break this chain. And if this chain is broken, I'm dead, and so are you. I do hope you know that. It's about not caring enough for each other. We had rules and regulations in the old days. You never went to a meeting in an empty car. Them addicts don't have nothing. Get a newcomer, bring him to a meeting. You don't pull the parking lot and pass by a newcomer. You know he's got to pass the cop man to go home. When somebody don't show up for a while, call and find out what's wrong with them. And there's a division happening here. And I'm not going to tolerate it. Because this is my home. You don't bring that shit in my home. I had to speak. 3 years ago I was supposed to speak, and my ride had to cancel at the very last minute. And I called around Lake City, tried to get a ride. I said, "I'm not going to that convention. It's a black convention." I said, "Excuse me? I thought it was an NA convention." Motherfucker. Now let me tell you something. I put up with this shit all my life. I I will not have it in here. This is my home. You leave that shit outside. And another problem. I have identical twins. One is gay and one is straight. I think that's so cool. And when my daughter came out, that first year she had a bad relationship. And she lay in my arm and she said, Mommy, I didn't choose this. I said, no, my baby, you were chosen. God only chooses his favorite to carry his heaviest crosses. We are all chosen. There's a t-shirt I want to get for her. It says, I'm black by birth, I'm gay by God, and I'm proud by choice. Okay? I sponsor one guy. I believe men with men and women with women. I'm very big on that. But my Kevin is gay, and I've been his sponsor for 10 years. It ain't broken. We ain't fixing it. We have a fabulous relationship, okay? And he had to leave Augusta, Georgia to come out. So he went to Allentown and came out. And in his home group, everything was fine. And then one night, the guy was talking, and he said something about him. Didn't want anybody to think I was a faggot, and everybody laughed. It hurt my Kevin's to his heart. It took him months to get over that and feel at home in his own group. You all need to watch your damn mouth. There's 3 things I don't tolerate in my presence, and everybody knows it. 3 words you don't bring around me, never have and never will. And that's faggot, nigger, or Jew. You don't say those things in my presence. Asshole, big fucker, that's fine. The other stuff you don't bring to me. Ever. We got to stop that. We got to stop talking about each other and start talking to each other. And I don't give a shit how many times they come through the doors. You run up there and say, welcome home. We need you. I don't care if they come 50 times. 51 might be the day. Might be the day that saves their life. Who do you think you are? I don't know what gutter you came out of, but I know what gutter I came out of. I can't talk about nobody. Who, what? Not me. I ain't nothing I hardly didn't do. I can't talk about nobody. I have no right. How dare you? Stop talking about people. Start loving them, caring for them. Hold them. They need you. We need each other. That's what this is. This is a program of love. This is a program of love. You know, let me tell you how to do it. You know how you learned how to pray when you came around? Fake it till you make it. Okay, somebody you don't like, just be nice to them anyway. You might enjoy being nice to them. And you might see a different side of them that you might like, God forbid. My sponsor said the most profound thing I ever heard. She was the speaker on the boat in Baltimore at the World Convention. She stood up there, she put down, when my sponsor puts her hand on her hip and starts moving her head, you better look out. She said, just remember one thing. We're all in this boat together. And I say, and when it goes down, and there's only one hand you can reach up for, I hope for your sake it's somebody you don't like. All right? It's so much easier to love than not to love. Because I can sit up here and teach you how not to love. I know how to do that. Okay? And it's okay if you get hurt. Oh, that was hard for me to accept. Like 10 years ago, you wouldn't have did this. Yeah, who am I? Who the fuck do I think I am? That I can't get hurt. And I'm going to take that chance and try to be your friend. Because there's so little love left in this world. I'm serious. I seen a bumper sticker that says, Christ is coming. And he's pissed. Jesus. You know, it's amazing. It's amazing. Let's learn to love each other. Let's worry about each other. Let's share. And with the women. You know, I've been with men for years. Women were never a threat to me. Because women talk to my man, they say, hi, how you doing? You don't take my man. I'm not going to take your man, because if you mess with my man, I'll go tear your tits off. So it wasn't a problem. You know, I just didn't want to hang out with women because I thought they were weak. How wrong I was. See? Women get with the women. We understand each other. We are different, honey, let me tell you. I was at a meet one time, somebody was talking about PMS, and some guys laughed, and I raised my hand. I said, when you got a woman in your face with a butcher knife in her hand, let's see how funny it is then. We are different. But we're all alike. We're all alike. And I spoke, I forget, in Washington. And I say 80 million years out of Africa, and the blood still flows through our veins the same way it did then. Because we've been proving it through DNA. Yeah, so what makes you think you're so great? I'm not. I'm just another person here, trying to help somebody who needs me. And that's a privilege. That's a privilege. You know, about 16, 17 years ago, I was sick, and I had pneumonia, and I thought that I wouldn't be able to leave the message for my children, for my babies in N.A. Don't walk in my shoes. Don't know what I know. Don't go where I've been, please. Don't walk in my shoes. And so I wrote a prayer, and it's called the Junkie Mother Prayer. And I have cards with them on, and I go leave them up here, and my phone number and address is on the back. And it says, to all my clean babies in N.A., if you're clean and in your N.A., you're mine. The junkie mother, that's me. Now through you, my dreams can come true. Remember my years, heavy with sorrow. Make of those years a torch for your tomorrow. Believe in yourself. Let none push you down. Look upward to the stars, for I will always be with you, till no one dare keeps you down. The children of a junkie mother from Blaze. Thank you.